Hey Rebels, welcome back to Studio G. I'm Mia Nakamura.
And I'm Sydney Lum. Last Friday was the 4-year anniversary of the first shooting, so we will be dedicating the show to remember the 60 lives that were taken that day.
We want to also honor the first responders that were there, so we have 2 police officers with us for a live interview later on in the show.
In addition to the police officers, we interviewed students and faculty on campus to tell their story about that day. Along with that, we will recap memorials that took place last Friday and resources that are available. Years ago, 60 people lost their lives at the Route 91 Harvest Music Festival, so we will be taking a minute of silence. Please take this time to read the names and honor the families who have to suffer that loss to this day. Even though the moment of silence is over, we will not forget the events or the victims of that day.
The Community Healing Garden in downtown Las Vegas was built in 3 days following the shooting at Route 91 Harvest Music Festival. The garden features a remembrance wall, a grove of 58 trees lining a paved path, shrubs, and flowers, all encircling an oak tree dubbed the Tree of Life.
Last Friday, the Community Healing Garden held a remembrance of the October 1st shooting. Attendees were given glow sticks and electric candles throughout the night for the moment of remembrance.
Mayor Carolyn Goodman read out all 58 names of the victims, and 58 candles were lit in honor of each life that was taken that night. You know, I think what they were doing downtown is just so beautiful.
Yeah, it is, especially after what happened, so tragic.
I know. And you know, there are other resources like there's yoga that there's trauma yoga that actually an instructor will do.
Awesome. Trauma Recovery Yoga Ambassador and instructor Brenda Hershey is offering a support yoga session for those affected by Route 91 as they honor and heal during a time that often causes increased anxiety.
Tomorrow there will be an online support yoga session from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. and will be of no cost. To sign up for the free yoga session, visit www.vegasstrongrc.com. Another way the community is giving back is an October 1st Remembrance exhibit on the first floor of the Clark County Government Center. This exhibit will take place until October 7th and is open 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m.
This year's exhibit will include the Art of Healing mural created by local artists and a 9-panel mural featuring teddy bear images representing the 58 lives lost in the initial hours after the attack.
You know, I just think it's so important for the community to come together in order to heal after such a tragic event. I recently interviewed students and faculty here at UNLV about what they remember from that night, how they felt, and what it was like going on into the next day.
So it's October 1st, and I'm picking up my son from the Mandalay Bay. And the last thing that I'm believing is going to happen is any type of incident or anything. It's always crazy at Mandalay Bay.
I was just at home and my parents were at work, and I remember hearing about because they called me and they just thought like some big firework event was going on.
I saw a bunch of notifications on my phone, Facebook, all the social media platforms, even the check-in app on the Facebook. I was asking, am I okay? And I was like, I'm not sure exactly what this is. And then when I read the news and the headlines, that's when I realized something really tragic had happened overnight.
I get off of work, still not much is known about it. I get home and all of a sudden it's all over the news. And it stayed all over the news literally all night up until the next morning, going from what had happened, who was injured, to the shooting itself, the shooter, to those in the hospitals, and it just kept continuing on. Coverage, it lasted like that all night.
It was the morning after, getting ready to walk to school, and that whole morning just felt really eerie and quiet. Kind of everyone just at school that day was really paranoid and didn't want to be there, and just for that whole week, just, you know, it didn't feel right, and it kind of took a while for the entire city to get over it, and that's kind of just what I remember about it.
I was actually doing a morning show. The night before, I was following the news and understood that there was shootings happening at the fairgrounds.
It wasn't until the following morning when I woke up and I realized it was such a serious and tragic event that I really felt almost attacked, that, you know, my city, my hometown had to deal with this. And I'm really proud of the city for how they stepped up and they supported one another, and they continue to support one another. And this is a moment of resilience for the community.
I really enjoyed talking to other people to hear their stories about that night. Now I'll be tossing it over to Sydney for our daily weather news.
Today it is 75 degrees and it has a 10% chance of raining. The other days look pretty nice considering we're in Vegas. We're only getting into the 80s. And this Saturday looks like an amazing time to go out, have a picnic. It's only going to be 77 degrees and no clouds, just all sun. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I love taking my dog for a walk, not just early mornings and nighttime, so I might do that Saturday. Well, I'm going to pass it back to the desk with Mia.
Thank you, Sydney. All right, well, don't go anywhere. When you come back, I'll be interviewing 2 campus police officers that will tell their October 1st story.
The COVID-19 vaccines can be our chance to get back to our plans, who we are, what we miss, to get back to each other, to life. But it's okay to have questions, like, how were the vaccines tested? In rigorous clinical trials among adults of diverse backgrounds. Can the vaccines give you COVID-19? You cannot get COVID-19 from a vaccine. Why should I get vaccinated? Protecting yourself also helps protect the people around you. Find the latest information at getvaccineanswers.org.
Welcome back. Today I have with me Lieutenant Newman and Lieutenant Dome. Thank you so much for being here with me. These 2 officers were on campus the day of the Route 91 Harvest Music Festival. So again, I just want to thank you so much for being here with me.
Sure.
Our pleasure.
And then just like to open up, what exactly were you doing on that day?
Let me first?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Well, I was still, that night, I was sleeping that night, and then I got woke up by the Incident Command Center. A lieutenant for the Metro said they need me to get to the Thomas and Mack and get that building open so they can evacuate everybody from Mandalay Bay. So all I knew at the time, there was a shooting, and I need to get there, so I left my house in Henderson, and I was on my way down to Thomas and Mack, and all I remember is that I've never seen so many ambulances on that street. I mean, it was a lot.
And then when you were like woken up in the middle of the night, what was kind of going on in your head? What were you thinking?
Well, I was trying to figure out, I mean, why would they need me to open up Thomas and Mack for something like that? And then until I realized what we had going, then I understood that.
What about Lieutenant Dome? What were kind of your responsibilities of that day?
Well, I was actually off as well that night, and I first became aware of it when my phone literally started with the emergency text message network that was firing off. So I knew we had a serious incident that was going on in the valley. literally kicked on CNN. And when you're seeing Vegas and our strip on CNN with, a tragedy going on, I'll be honest, I hadn't seen the likes of that type stuff that was unfolding since 9/11. And having to respond to campus on that to help protect. From there, being the night shift watch commander, even though I was off, I remember calling the sergeant that was on duty. We already had displaced people that literally had walked from the event grounds all the way to Thomas and Mack and UNLV because that's the light that they seen in the distance, knowing it was safe. So I knew we had to already start some of the pre-set up incident command plans, and from there got messages that Lieutenant Newman had been notified, and we were going into full incident action plan on that. And so it was doing some quick coordination and then getting down here as quick as possible to take over field operations.
And then what exactly were your responsibilities? I know in a typical day you are campus police officers, and I know you're not rushing to, escort people from a shooting. So what exactly were your roles of that day? What were your responsibilities?
Well, my role has always been special events. I've always been in charge of special events.
Okay.
So that's why I know about the Thomas and Mack and can be able to open that up. But that's exactly what my role was to be, is to go over there and get everything going again and get that building up and going for the evacuees to come in.
How many people did you have exactly at the Thomas and Mack?
You mean everybody? Boy, that's a hard figure.
Thousands by the time it was done.
Bus loads in.
Yeah,
bus loads.
That became the main evacuee site for the valley on that incident. So you had not only those that were displaced from the actual event, but you had Mandalay Bay as it was being cleared, and even surrounding areas around it as they were still clearing it. So people were funneling in either on directed bus routes, coming in off foot. Support from the valley was great that night, so there were just truckloads of people coming up, people not even knowing each other but helping each other out and having a central place where they could come be safe.
Yeah, and I know they probably wanted to be as far as the strip away as possible, and I know as such a tragic event as it was, it really brought Las Vegas together. And I know my work did so many fundraisers or so many blood drives. The blood drives were hours long, so it was kind of beautiful seeing that community together. And I just really wanted to ask you, how did you personally see how this event really shifted and molded Las Vegas?
Well, it's actually, for law enforcement side, as Rich will say too, it's changed law enforcement in Vegas and actually probably worldwide immensely on how we have a special event and how we approach everything. That was because it was actually a good friend of mine that was handling that special event with Metro at the time that happened. So it just unfolded, just caused a lot more anticipation on different types of law enforcement, how we handle an event now.
Yeah, things happened that night that had never happened before an event. Takeaways that I had on it is, you had mentioned earlier, I seen the community come together. Not only did I see people helping each other and they'd never met before, I literally seen the outpouring of food, water, and other supplies to those people that were displaced. It was really nice seeing everybody help each other in a tragic event.
Well, thank you so much for being here, and you two are really our heroes. You're Vegas's heroes, so thank you again for coming. And now we'll be going on to a story by reporter Richard Pedzik, who got the chance to interview another campus police officer who was also there on that tragic night. Thank you.
On the night of October 1st, 2017, Officer Adriana Miranda was at the Thomas and Mack Center, helping people coming from the Route 91 Harvest Festival where there was a shooting. Officer Adriana Miranda told me her story of being there that night as the police force and others got news of what was going down.
So on October 1st, I was actually working as student security for the department. And what we were doing was we were closing up the law school college and at the same time the honors college as well. So we carry radios, so we would also scan police radio. And at the same time we were hearing that there was people inside the dorms, and we were kind of just getting radio traffic of just people inside the dorms and a possible active shooter. And at the same time, we were getting notifications on our phone basically saying what was happening at Mandalay Bay and, the Route 91 concert. So at that point, we decided to go to the public safety building, which is where we would actually report. And we decided to offer, our assistance, if we needed to transport people from Dayton or anywhere on campus that they were running into to Thomas and Mack or Mendon Hall.
Officer Miranda told me about how UNLV students came together that night and assisted people by bringing in water. Seeing the community come together showed a lot to Officer Miranda, and she will later get into that and how that added to her purpose in being a police officer.
And when we were up there, actually, it was pretty cool because we saw a lot of students coming in with cases of water and, snacks and stuff like that for, the people that were affected by October 1st. And it just really showed, how great our community is, how great, students are, and just the community in general, helping people that needed it, the most.
Officer Miranda needed a final push, as she calls it, calling the community coming together and overall being there for other people that night, really proving to her that this is what she was supposed to do.
I wanted to go into law enforcement, but this kind of just gave me the final push that I needed. Just basically seeing how we were able to kind of just protect people from, from harm and stuff like that. It kind of just, it was a good feeling. It was a very rewarding feeling, being able to just be there for people, and that's what I really enjoy. Being there for people during, their worst times, unfortunately. I feel like it takes a special type of person to do that. And, October 1st kind of just gave me that push that I needed to just show that, I can do it. I can be there for people in their time of need.
I could only imagine what it is like to be in that situation that Officer Miranda and so many other first responders were in. I respect their job, and I believe that God put them in that position that they hold. Reporting for UNLV TV, this is GN Richard Pedzik.
This past Friday, the community got together in the Downtown Arts District for First Friday.
The theme for this month's First Friday was One World Through Art. Where we have experienced so much tragedy, it was beautiful seeing the community come together for this event.
Stay tuned after this because when we come back, we will talk more about how the Las Vegas Golden Knights came together during the October 1st anniversary.
Unlike other health concerns, mental illness is not always easy to see.
Third line, please.
DEPRESSION. Mental illness doesn't show up on a scale. Bipolar? Sorting out a mental health concern is not something to attempt on your own.
Anxiety. I thought so.
Like many health conditions, help for mental illness takes professional diagnosis and treatment. And the sooner you seek treatment, the better.
Look at that. 6,000 steps and PTSD.
If you or a loved one has a mental health concern, don't go it alone. Find out what to do. For 24-hour free and confidential information and treatment referral, call 1-800-662-HELP. Learn more at samhsa.gov/support.
This past Friday, the Vegas Golden Knights hosted a blood drive outside of City National Arena later that day. The Golden Knights played the LA Kings at T-Mobile Arena and won 4-0. Before their game, the Knights also held a moment of silence to honor the victims. During the game, defenseman Daniil Murmanov scored twice and goaltender Laurent Brossoit recorded a 38-save shutout. It was a step forward for the Knights after losing 3-1 to the Kings the day before in Salt Lake City. The Knights go head-to-head tonight at 6 p.m. against the Colorado Avalanche at Ball Arena. Moving on to other teams, on October 2nd, the UNLV football team played against the University of Texas at San Antonio, but lost 17-24. Their next game will be on October 16th against Ohio State. The UNLV women's volleyball team recently competed against New Mexico and won 3-1, and they will be competing later today in San Diego. So good luck to our Lady Rebels. Well, that concludes our show today in remembrance of October 1st.
It has been a pleasure of mine to be an anchor for this special show.
Same here. Again, we want to just thank you all for watching this show of Studio G. I'm Sydney Lum.
And I'm Mia Nakamura. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.